our team, our community. This is Condors Town, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
Ooh, haven't been able to hear that intro in a little while. It's good to hear it once again. What's going on? It's Erik Fox from Energy 95.3 in my offices here at the north side of town over by the airport. On the other side of the screen, a little bit of a cooler place because is there ice down there yet? No, you guys haven't laid the ice.
No, it's very expensive to keep it during the summer, so no.
Well, yesterday we had ice because we had a connection up with the guys over at Valley Children's Ice Center. So, we got a little bit of ice, but we're going to have ice in the valley before we know it. As you know, it is summertime, and the last thing we're really thinking about is the cold stuff. But, we're just a little bit away from the next Condor season. So wanted to jump on here with my friend Ryan Holt to chat about all things hockey, as it's going to be here before we know it in a blink of an eye. How's everything going in the summertime, by the way?
It's good, and we don't even call it summer. We just call it the portion of the year where we don't play games. I think there's kind of a thing out there where, we kind of go away and, it's you come back in October and all of a sudden the season's here and we just go back to work. But it's fully, 12 months a year and, the grind doesn't stop. And, we don't work weekends as much during the summer, but that'll all change here in, less than 90 days now.
It's crazy to think how quick that's going to be here. Of course, we wanted to do a catch up here because we have the draft, we have free agency, we have everything, and also a whole lot of other changes. So let's just do from the top down like we do. Let's go and talk about what's going on with Edmonton during the summer months, off season, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think a great summer so far for the Oilers. First off, they re-signed Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson to contracts and finalized the coaching staff. And that's great for Jay and Dave. They were tremendous with us here in Bakersfield and, spent half a season in Edmonton and got them, a couple of wins away from a Stanley Cup, basically. And I think it's a great feather in their cap. It's a great feather in our organization's cap, here in Bakersfield. And, that's first step. Second step, the Oilers, I think, took care of business signing, what they needed this summer. And there'll be some tweaks and, some changes throughout the course of the next couple of months. But, to get Brett Kulak back, to get Evander Kane back up front, to get Jack Campbell in as a goaltender, probably paired with Stuart Skinner, kind of a veteran, rookie type situation, I think is great. No qualms, certainly what the Oilers have done, from their roster standpoint. And, as we know, the stronger the Oilers roster, the stronger the Condors roster. So great to see them have a great offseason. And, I think from a Condors fan perspective as well, too, no real trades or anything of that nature, which, one would open up spots up top, but also no prospect trades, I guess, if you will, trickling down into Bakersfield. So all systems go for both organizations.
So let's talk about, obviously it's a little too early to really prognosticate how the season will go, but how are you feeling with the Pacific with the Oilers this year?
I would have to put them near the top. I mean, I think when you win the division in the postseason and get to the Final Four and, lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, I think a target goes, squarely on your back, as a team to beat. I think, obviously I think Calgary got a little worse, this offseason. I think Vegas is, they thought that they were going to be, they kind of mortgaged everything the last couple of years and now have to kind of sell it off. I think the Kings are going to be very good this year. San Jose is going to struggle. And I think Vancouver is kind of, maybe that team that takes another step, and Anaheim kind of in that realm as well, too. So have to like what the Oilers have done this offseason. It's basically the same team, if not improved. So have to like what they've done.
We talked about changes on the north side of the border. Let's talk about the south side of the border as we talk about your Condors. Some big changes in the Pacific. Number one, no Stockton fans coming down for road trips anymore, as the team with no name is now in Calgary, and also bringing in a brand new team for this season.
Yeah, so a lot going on here in Condors Town, and it starts with our opponents, and we're going to go to Coachella Valley this year. We'll go to Calgary this year. We'll go to Texas this year. So some new faces, here in Bakersfield this year, which is always good, and we're going to see 10 teams this year, I think, which is one of, if not the most teams we've seen, in a season, in any league, not just in the American Hockey League. So great to have that schedule variety. We don't play anybody more than 4 times either location, so that's great. You get a lot of variety, a lot of schedule variety. And you see a lot of teams, which is awesome. And then on the ice, it starts for us behind the bench, and a brand new coaching staff. Colin Chalk comes back after he did a terrific job in the second half. We talked about Jay and Dave and what they did in the NHL. Colin did the same thing in the American Hockey League, and he's very deserving of this opportunity, and really excited to work with him. And he named 2 assistants recently, Keith McCambridge and Josh Green. Keith's a longtime AHL head coach, has that experience, kind of running his own bench, and former head coach of the Alaska Aces in ECHL too, and had a lot of success there. Josh Green's kind of a new style of coach. Played 2 decades professionally. Anytime you play 2 decades professionally, 1, you have to be a pretty good hockey player, but 2, you have to be a pretty good person. You don't stick around for 2 decades without being a good person, without being a good teammate. He was a captain in a lot of his teams as well too. He's coached in the Western Hockey League, which is a junior hockey league, the last couple of years as an assistant coach. So this is his kind of first foray into professional hockey, and I think everyone kind of brings a different element to the coaching staff, and that's what I kind of like about the way it's shaped up. Keith's a veteran coach who has been around the block and kind of a defensive side of things. Josh is kind of a new style of forward that played 300 plus games in the NHL, and Colin's going to be pulling the strings this year, and putting his stamp on things, and excited about those 3.
Talking about the schedule got released, and more Condors hockey this year as well, right?
Yeah, 72 games this year, so 36 at home, 36 on the road, so 2 more home games as well, and some great dates, and I think 24 on Fridays and Saturdays, which from a business standpoint, from a fan standpoint, it is terrific. That's what we aim to do, is to put as many games on Fridays and Saturdays, and make it as fan friendly as possible. And it's nice too. This off season's kind of been a normal off season. The last couple of years we've had things go on and delays and restrictions and things like that. We've been able to kind of forecast things out for the entire season here in almost August now. So we're busy at work getting ready for our promotions. We'll have our big 6-pack coming out here in the next week or so. So really excited about what's to happen for year 25, which is pretty cool. 25 years of pro hockey here in Bakersfield.
It's amazing. I remember back in the fog. So moving into Condors Town in 25 years, I feel older just thinking that right now.
I'm going into year 12. I don't know where it. I mean, the last 3 years have kind of felt like one elongated season, I guess, if you will. But there's still seasons, so kind of strange. But can't believe it's been 12 years myself and 25 for the organization.
That's amazing. So we talked about the guys behind the bench. Let's talk about the guys in front of the bench. What are we looking at roster-wise into the new season?
Yeah, so a couple of the veterans that are back, Brad Malone and Luke Esposito, figured to, be kind of our part of our leadership group here in Bakersfield. And on the back end, Vinny Desharnais, who I think has taken a huge step the last couple of years in becoming a solid number 1 defenseman, and someone maybe the Oilers didn't even think would be where he is right now. And I think he's a great story back there, and he'll kind of anchor our defensive core this year again, like he did last year. And we had a lot of young defensemen last year, Sam Marukov and Kessler Ring and Kemp, Caldas, guys who, first, second year pros. Now they're going to be asked to take a step this year. So really excited about what the team can do defensively as well. And then between the pipes, everyone talks about Stuart Skinner going up to the Edmonton Oilers, which is, terrific for Stu. He's deserving of it. He'll do great things up in Edmonton. Don't anticipate seeing him back here in Bakersfield ever again. But that being said, you have to fill that spot. One rookie, Ryan Fanti, who we saw, for 1 game in Colorado after he left college last year. And then Ollie Rodrigo will kind of be back as kind of a tandem. And then we'll also have a veteran netminder in Calvin Pickard. And anyone who saw us play Grand Rapids, Calvin was Grand Rapids. He was the reason why they were in, 90% of their games, I think. I think he faced like 40 shots a night, stood on his head a bunch, and won over 20 games, played over 100 games in the NHL, 30 years old. His brother Chet was actually a former Condor, so that's pretty cool. And now we'll continue that tradition of brothers playing in Condors Town. So Calvin will be a solid, veteran AHL, dependable netminder who, we'll probably see, half of the games, if not more than half the games. I think he's the the clear number one. But that being said, it's an opportunity for Ryan and for Ollie to develop here in Bakersfield. One of them will likely be in Fort Wayne as well, too, our new affiliate in ECHL. So they'll flip-flop back and forth and get some time, and that's how the business of hockey works at the goaltending position.
Wanted to talk about that. Of course, you kind of spilled the beans a little bit there, but it already got spilled. Wichita, no longer the ECHL affiliate. It's now in Fort Wayne. How is that going to affect the development of players coming up?
Yeah, Fort Wayne's a great spot for players to play. This is a Fort Wayne organization that dates back to the 50s, and they've been at the highest level of minor league hockey, if you will, throughout the course of their history. So they've been in the International Hockey League, which at the time was the American Hockey League. They kind of went hand in hand. They were in the UHL. Now they're in the ECHL. So they've been at all levels of hockey, and they get a great fan base. It's a great building. It's a cool environment. They very similar to Bakersfield in the sense of, Fort Wayne Comets hockey in the jungle is similar to, Condors hockey here in Condors town. So excited about the prospects that can go there. We'll sign some players, I think, over the course of the next couple of weeks to help out Fort Wayne. There's salary cap things in the ECHL where if your AHL team is able to sign players and help you out, those guys might not necessarily end up in Bakersfield, which is fine, but they might. And It gives the ECHL team a little less burden. You're able to sign a guy who, you might have had to pay a little more in ECHL. Well, if the AHL is paying him, you don't have to pay him as much on the salary cap side of things. So that's where the affiliation really helps. And they'll get a goaltender as well, too. Ollie or Ryan will be there and flip-flopping back and forth, and probably a handful of players from Bakersfield. And, it creates competition, which is great. And to have a solid place for guys to play, I think is huge. In the ECHL, I think, the development at all three levels is big. And, you don't want your guys to go down and be able to receive the same type of professionalism and care that you have here in Bakersfield. You get that at Fort Wayne, too.
It's going to be interesting to see all the changes coming up on both AHL, NHL, and ECHL, all the movements and all the newness. It's hard to believe, hockey season is less than 90 days away. Schedule's out. Tickets are available or going to be available soon. How do people connect up?
Yeah, we've got ticket plans on sale now, BakersfieldCondors.com. We've got all of our flex packs and mini packs and things like that. We'll have single game tickets on sale later on in the summer, but suites, if you think about birthday parties, groups, now's the time to do it. If you've got a school, if your kid is on a soccer team, if you're looking to fundraise, now's the time to get those locked in because those dates go fast. And, a lot of our tickets and suites and groups are already sold before the season even starts. That's kind of how we operate. So looking forward to a great 25th anniversary season, October 15th. It all starts against Abbotsford, and be ready to go.
It's going to be amazing to watch. And once again, Ryan and I will be catching up as we get close to the start of the season. And, of course, your Energy Condors connection all season long. We like keeping you in the loop, We don't want you left field.
I got to earn my paycheck 12 months a year somehow.
Exactly. Ryan Holt from the Bakersfield Condors. He is the voice of the Condors broadcast. My name is Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. This has been another edition, weirdly in July, of your Condors connection. And we'll catch you next time right here.